So people always ask me, where do you get your ideas? How do you get your inspiration? And one of the ways I get inspiration is from things in nature. And sometimes it's beautiful words. And sometimes it's people's personal stories. And for this project, it was all three of those things. So I really want to tell you that several years ago, I did a project at Cleveland Central State University. It's the only historic Black university in Ohio. And it was a big project that had a lot of the same kind of things going on, a difficult venue. It was high up in the air. You could only see it from far away. It was a 3-day installation, up 100 trips on a forklift, and exhausting. And a student came up to me when the project was done. She just stood there and stared at it and then said to me, "This project makes me feel like this university cares about me." And I was stunned, first of all, and I can't imagine a better compliment for anybody, a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, anybody getting that kind of compliment. So I've always kept that idea in my mind that art can make you feel something. I knew that, but to hear that from a student, that's been my number one goal from that point on. And I want that for this project, that art makes you feel something. So this art is going to be in a historic building, the Akron Summit County Courthouse. The project is called Curated Courthouse. And the way it began was last November, I was invited down to the courthouse by Lisa Mansfield and Judge Stormer to see the wall that they had chosen for this artwork, for this piece of mosaic artwork. And this is the wall. It's at the end of a very, very long, dark corridor. And I took one look at the wall and kind of took it in for a minute. And it's at the end of a long, dark corridor. It's high up over a stairway, and you can only see it from about 15 feet away at the end of the stairway. It's not an ideal place for a piece of art, but I've dealt with that kind of thing before, and I was bound and determined because of the commitment of the Curated Courthouse, because of the idea of this project being this moment of serenity, this moment of peace, this moment of healing, that this was what this piece had to be. So I started looking into what I could do in this design that would make this piece completely unique and completely special for this incredible 1908 historic building that happens to be on the historic register. And I started looking at things about Ohio, and I found the trillium is the wildflower of Ohio. Now, a trillium is a very interesting flower. You can't go to the store and buy a bouquet of trillium and give them to somebody like you can roses. You have to search for these trillium. You have to go out into the woodlands for only a few weeks in the spring and find them. And they only bloom for a short time. They're a beautiful flower. They bloom in the woods before the leaves cover the woodland ground. So it's that special sunlight that comes through the trees that makes these flowers bloom just once a year in this very special way. So that really sparked my imagination, and I thought that's the answer. But I wanted to use words. I like to use words in all of my work, inspirational quotes. And so my first visit was November. I started working on designs through December, and then January 6th, and the inaugural poem, which I heard Amanda Gorman's amazing poem, and the words, "The new dawn blooms as we free it for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. And that was my aha moment. That was when everything came together. That was when I realized that those words and the idea, the concept, the incredible quality of the Trillium flower were all going to go together for this piece. And then I started working with the palette because it's very high up. It's very, at the end of a very long hallway that's very dark. And I knew the palette had to be very light, very airy, very luminous, and almost magical. So I put together these sketches. I started to pick out tiles. I use thousands and thousands of pieces of mosaic tile that I hand cut. And the piece, because of the location, because it's a white marble wall, it needs a beautiful frame. And I thought the frame should be handmade tiles. At this point, Lisa suggested that the Akron Public School students could be and would like to participate in this project. So in some of my research, I found that there were potteries in Southern Ohio around the time the building was built in 1908. This happens to be one of the tiles from that pottery, and it's a relief tile. And because the inside of the design is going to be pieces of mosaic, the border, I wanted to have a relief quality to it, like this and like this. And the relief tile, which is what hopefully you and your students will be participating in contributing to this, will be based on the design of the Trillium flower.